The kickoff taken by a Holder at the 8-yard line, out to the 10, 15, to the 20, to the 25, to the 30. Taken down at the 31. On the keeper, this is going to be C.J. Taylor, as he will get past the 35, out to the 38. Hewitt hands it off, trying the near side. Nice tackle. What a tackle right there by Braylon Grayson.
He made the last tackle too, man. He's all over the field.
He came flying in there, tackling Marcus Lope. Hewitt back in the shotgun, sends a man in motion. He'll give to the motion man. He will be smothered at the 44-yard line, a loss of a couple. Back to throw. Looking.
Oh, busted
now
cover.
throwing. This was intercepted. Intercepted.
Wow.
C.J. Taylor.
I was looking at the wide.
He had to climb the ladder to bring that one down. What an athletic move.
Warren County 7 yards total offense. That's
High kick. Taken at the 37-yard line, to the 40, to the 45, cuts it back at the 50. This is Johnson. He'll be taken down at the 41. Hewitt will hand it off. Nothing doing. Loose football. Warren County has recovered. Let's see what the ruling is.
what they're going to do. Turnover.
Pioneers have recovered the fumble at the 10-yard line. Warren County will have it again deep in their own territory, but
Yes,
they keep
sir.
Riverdale out of the end zone. 7:19 to go in the half. It's two quarterback. Thompson taking the snap, drops back, and a throw. It's going to be complete to Elam. Elam trying to get some yardage, but he is smothered by white jerseys. Taylor takes the snap. Hands it off up the middle. There it's going to be Holder. Holder works it out past the 40 to the 41. That is a First National Bank first down.
It's a different formation there. They end up with another fullback in the backfield trying to help block a little bit.
A minute and a half. Riverdale leading 9-0. Kick will be taken by an up man at the 16-yard line. Going to the middle of the field.
Oh,
nice
what a hit.
takedown. Nice tackle at the 25-yard line. Rolling left, running, now throwing downfield. This is going to be caught by Kingston Holder inside the 5-yard line to the 3.
Protection. But he's getting a lot of protection getting up there.
Good job of throwing across the body, hitting his receiver. Taylor takes the snap. He is going to run it, trying to get to the corner. Touchdown, Pioneers.
I think he wheeled that one in there.
Taylor with a 3-yard run. And the Pioneers are on the board with 6:07 to go in the third period. Hewitt in the shotgun. Hewitt hands it off up the middle. He is hit and driven back. Nine seconds to play. Handoff goes to Cantrell. He'll be brought down at the 40, and that will do it. That's the end of the ball game. Your final score, Riverdale 39, Warren County 6. A battle between two top 10 teams. Riverdale comes out on top over Warren County 39-6. Hi everybody, I'm Jay Walker. Welcome to Turner Time, featuring Warren County Pioneer head football coach Matt Turner. Also joining us is the Warren County Sports Authority, Jeff Simmons.
Simmons.
We're here to go.
That's it.
Well, gentlemen, the winning streak came to an end, but the season did not.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating a little bit right now because it seems like everything we've done up to this point, didn't even happen. But, of course, we burned the ship and move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating in the sense that for 8 weeks people have been looking for the reason to discount the Pioneers, and then they get their chance one time
Against a really good defense.
Against one of the best teams in the state, and it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, we knew they were a mirage. It's like, well, They're 8-0. How many other teams in the state were 8-0? So I mean, was it the best effort? No. Or can you learn from it? Absolutely. And I think that you grow into it. And the best thing about it is you get a even bigger opportunity this Friday.
Yeah, well, I mean, the same things the same stakes are on the line this week. You know, right there, like you said, the region championship will be decided there in Nunley Stadium Friday. So. Yeah, I mean, and it's going to be a good teaching tool for us, you know, because a team like Riverdale, you know, they've had an opportunity to have something established for a long time in the weight room, and that's something, you know, just being the second year, and then you put COVID in the middle of that, it kills us as far as gaining that strength to beat a team that caliber of Riverdale.
Yeah, strength and depth.
Yeah,
I mean, you had an entire spring and summer where you. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you lost players because they stayed home. I mean, they did.
Yeah,
they did. You lost players in the sense that you lost the gains that you were making before that, and they had to come back. And then you literally just lost players who said, you know,
I got a job,
or my parents just don't want me to be out there. I mean, for all legitimate reasons. It's just, you know, and then all of a sudden it's our 30 against their 60 or 70, and sometimes I mean. 9-0 at halftime, and then all of a sudden it's 39-6. So
the wheels came off there. So you know,
and you see where the depth and stuff like that happens.
And now that score too, you know, of course, as a coaching staff, you know, or myself, I started pulling some players out because I knew we had bigger games. You know, and you know, and of course, do we want to win at all costs? Yeah, but you know, we've got a playoff game. We know that's coming down the pipe, regardless of what happens this week at Nunley Stadium. You know, and there's no taking no unnecessary risk, and we need to get some guys some reps at playing time, you know, for this week and into the playoffs. You know,
let's take a look at some highlights.
Right.
The Pioneers had a nice scoring drive. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, 16-0. You know, we're still right here in this game. This game's not bad. You know, come out.
On the keeper, this is
go
going to be
CJ,
Taylor gets
you know,
a good block.
running our offense. We kind of got a little away from our offense a little bit, just because, like you said. Before the show, me and you was talking, we started our first two drives behind the sticks.
Yep.
Where our offensive line, you know, I don't know if they just amped up and rattled, you know, but we kind of settled down here, obviously late in the third quarter here, and we started executing. And, you know, because that's still Riverdale's number one defense right there. Riverdale had not pulled nobody. Good play right there with Grayson, you know, backside post there. You know, and the confidence is growing.
Yeah, a lot of the things that happen, and like you said, going back into the first half, you know, if you look at the first two drives, you start with a false start on both penalties.
Yep.
You end up with fourth and less than 5, which means you would have had the first down had you not get the penalties. You know, all of a sudden had to punt, and it really took you out of your momentum. But right here, you came out. They scored on the first play of the second half, go to 16-0, but you score, have a chance to, you know, gain the momentum, and then even came out on this next drive. Stopped them and got the ball back, and then I think that, you know, CJ got dinged up on a punt return, had to switch in really quick fashion, and I think, you know,
we got the intentional ground and got backed up,
ground and then a snap into the end zone, and then the game, the momentum that you had built in those 5 to 6 minutes just immediately went out. But you know, this is something to me. This drive says you have the ability to score on anybody.
Yep.
And you mixed it up a little bit. You get out of the pocket. You get CJ moving a little bit. They're blocked up pretty well, and you know you have guys. I mean, Casey Holder. Show me the team that's been able to keep him from getting behind him yet.
No,
he's been behind every defense that he's played against this year.
You know, and of course, when you get behind the sticks like that, you know, I mean, it kills you as far as trying to call the right play call. You know, and then of course, you know, asking Elrod to step in there, and you know, of course, you know, there's different play calling if CJ's your quarterback or Bryson Elrod, or you know, even in the first series where we had Clay Thompson in at quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because you got to play to the player's strengths or call to the player's strength. You know. And, you know, that one intentional grounding, we kind of had a blown assignment by a tailback that kind of ran into because it was a sprint out protection and is either a miscue or whatever. But, you know, Big Xander kind of hit Elrod pretty hard because Elrod's trying to sprint out, trying to fix his face mask, see where he's at, you know. And, of course, the speed of Riverdale, they got there pretty quick.
Yep.
Well, the defense showed some good things, causing some turnovers the other night.
Defense, you know, I mean, the score I know doesn't reflect that, but this defense it played salty. You know, I know we're going to speak about Braylon Grayson's play. You know, I mean, that man was a man on a mission, you know. And you take three plays after we've evaluated the film, you take 3 plays away from this out of this ball game, or kids play a little bit better technique on 3 certain plays, and this game is a very low-scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, you see here, these were both in the first half with Riverdale in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, the score is 2-0.
It's
That's
2-0 late in the second quarter. And you're causing chaos. I mean, you're doing the things defensively that you've done all year, which is you play a bend don't break,
Yep.
and then when they get to the red zone, you make things happen. And you see people making plays. I mean, Bryson Elrod just rips the ball out of this guy's hands and dives on it. I mean, that's huge. Those are huge plays, and that's the reason why this game was, for the longest time, you was kind of thinking, man, is 7 going to do it? I mean, I know when I picked the score, I picked a very low-scoring game, and this is the reason why. I knew Warren County had a good defense. I knew we were facing a good defense.
Yeah, you know, and of course, you know, we had a breakdown and the special teams that allowed that one safety. You know, of course, that was a big momentum swing too. You know, anytime you get a block punt, it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
But.
And what we talked about, and some of the things that like we said, when we talk about Braylon Grayson here in a second. This team came in with 2 running backs averaging over 100 yards a game.
Yep.
Neither one of them made it to that mark. And if you take away, and I know this is cherry picking, but you take away the 75-yard run, and this team averaged 3 yards per carry.
All right.
For 30 carries. It's not like they had 10 or 15. They tried to run the ball 30 times and gained 93 yards.
With 2 backs, with 2 fresh backs,
with rotating fresh backs, and they just could not figure out a way to get untracked other than one play that started the second half, and other than that, and then, I mean, yes, kudos to the defense. It's been kudos to the defense for a long time here. I mean, yeah, the long plays they got to stop, but there's things that you can build on momentum-wise for this defense.
All right.
Coach, did fatigue play a part in the fourth quarter?
Well, no, not necessarily, because I don't know. Obviously, we was rotating some guys. I don't know. There was a spot in the game that I kind of brought the team in and talked to them. Because I was a little frustrated. Because this was a tough game for this squad, because this is the first time that they had really never been in control of a football game. And they were so close, and then and I think we was learning how to play. Because I think they saw the size of Riverdale and saw that the task before them was pretty daunting, and throughout the game you kind of felt like, I don't know, can we pull this off, and going back to what I said before, knowing that we had a playoff game and the same opportunity this week against Oakland, we started pulling some guys, because obviously when you do get fatigued, you do have a tendency to have some injuries. Yep. So, of course, I think we're going to discuss that a little bit here in a little bit anyway. So, but yeah, what's next?
Let's take a look at stats. Passing, C.J. Taylor 2 for 5, 53 yards. Clay Thompson 1 for 1 for 3 yards. Yeah. Receiving, Grayson Holder 1 catch for 34. Dante 2 catches for 22 yards.
Yeah, the passing game, it really only livened up on that one drive where you scored, but I think that's something that y'all can build on, because it's obvious at some point this year. I mean, that you still want to run the ball, and you want to run the ball effectively, but you're going to have to throw the ball a little bit.
We got to loosen them up, yeah.
And I think you've seen in the last 2 weeks, it's there. It's just being selective with it and making sure you're executing when you do it.
Right.
Rushing numbers, C.J. Taylor, 10 carries, 30 yards, and a touchdown. Ryland Holder, 7 carries, 24 yards. Eli Cantrell, 5 carries for 9 yards. Clay Thompson, 1 carry for 5 yards. Grayson Holder, 3 carries for 4 yards. Defensively, Bryson Elrod, a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. Braylon Grayson was the leading tackler. We're going to talk about him in a minute. C.J. Taylor with a great interception.
Yep.
It's good to see Eli get back on the field after the hit that he took and the concern that everybody had
of that hit, yeah.
With that in Manchester, to see him come back out there and kind of look like himself at the end of the game. I mean, people were still bouncing off of him. He's showed that this year, and then of course, CJ gets in the end zone. I think it's his 20th touchdown this year.
Yep.
So I mean, he's been racking them up
against a very good defense.
Yep.
Time for the Player of the Week.
Player of the Week.
Security Federal Player of the Week. And here's the Morgan County Sports Authority with that.
Well, I think we've been teasing it enough, but I don't think there was any doubt that if you were at Nunley Stadium or if you were watching it on WCS TV or anywhere you're watching, Braylon Grayson showed up a lot. I mean, he was from the first play that Riverdale touched the ball. I think he actually had the first 3 tackles, and we're going to start seeing a bunch of the highlights here. I mean, I was trying to get together. You start putting a highlight package together, and it's like, well, I could do an entire one for Braylon Grayson because if you told me he had 20 tackles, I'd believe you. If you told me he had 30 tackles, I'd probably believe you. I mean, he was in on every single play. It seemed like
his defensive instincts are just unreal, especially for a sophomore. And and that's where people are like, oh yeah, this senior class is that and other. Trust me, there is a good core, and of course Braylon Grayson is the head of that core that's going to lead these Pioneers, Squad 53 and Squad 54, So I'm excited to see this young man go. But yeah, he was all over the spot, and played lights out, I
mean, right there you're showing. I mean, it's not just defensively too. I mean, he's special. He just likes to hit. I mean, like you said, he understands angles. He understands, all the
great instincts.
Everything that he does, he seems like he's just always in the right spot.
Right.
I mean, and he's only gonna get better.
Yep.
I mean, he's only gonna get better. This is
because
that's
a kid.
player.
Trust me, that's a kid that's not finding an excuse to miss the weight room.
No,
he's not making any excuses to miss conditioning. And I guarantee he'll be the I know he's on the basketball court. But he'll be the guy that's going to be working out during that time. So I think he knows.
Well, he was the kind of kid that y'all actually in the preseason. I think people don't. He's just now getting really healthy.
Yes.
For that about a week before the DeKalb County game, he had a leg injury that was concerning, and he wanted to play through it. I mean, it's like you're talking about not making excuses.
That kid's not
you
gonna
had
make
to pull him off the practice field to protect him because he wants to be on the field.
Look at that speed right there.
Yep. He's a dynamic player.
And that's another kid, like a kid like C.J. Taylor that you can build an offense around. And I mean, trust me, that kid right there is a kid that we can build an offense and a defense around, depending on which route we go with him next year. But yeah, he's of course he's been playing like this all year long. Yep. So I'm excited to see him step up in the next couple of weeks.
So congratulations to Braylon Grayson,
yes, sir.
the Security Federal Player of the Week. Time now, the tough question for Turner.
Well,
Jeff?
Coach, always I want to let everybody know that you can ask these questions by sending them to wcsportsauthority@gmail.com or hitting us up on our Facebook page or our Twitter page. This one comes from where we're at, Mud Buns Family Sports Grill. Owner Brett Simmons asked, Coach, you talked about this a little bit earlier. You've played out in front all year. I mean, before Friday's game, you'd only trailed for 15 minutes.
It's crazy, right?
The entire season for 8 games. And then you get behind. We talked after the game. I don't think you were really happy with how your team handled the adversity. How do you take this week's game and the things that happen and build on it and to know that when you get down, it's not over. You can still build from it.
Well, yeah, we're going to go in tomorrow and do film study, which actually I guess this shows Tuesday, so we'll do film study on Monday, and we will show and show these guys that hey, like that first half, man, we're there. It's 9-0.
Yeah.
Now granted, we got to overcome that, and of course we'll use that to make sure that they understand how important the special teams is, and this, that, and other, because it does suck to get behind on a safety, because 2 points is just weird on a football scoreboard anyway. But and I challenged them at the end of the game, and we're going to remind some things. Seniors are going to have a senior dinner with just me. And we're really gonna do kind of one of them family dinners where we talk about some of that stuff on Monday. So put it out there on the table and get those guys to actually honestly ask themselves, did you believe? Mm-hmm. Did you believe? Was you believing in your teammate? And then some of the guys, some of those role models or those natural leaders, those are the ones that I've got to make sure that they've got that chin up. They've got that, and they've got to be that Coach Turner on the football field in the huddle, prepping these guys up.
Yep.
Because I saw some of that. Like I said, I made the comment to the guys. I saw finger pointing instead of thumb pointing. you know, and we can't do that. You know, the backs was complaining to the lineman. Lineman was not understanding why the backs wasn't hitting the hose and second, you know, or whatnot. And we just can't do that. You know, and everybody knew, and I knew it was going to happen, and I knew it had the potential to be there. You know, it's so fragile what we had going up to this point. And these guys hadn't really seen that adversity. Even the games that we had, it felt like we was behind, we wasn't. You know, like you said, we've only been behind those few minutes, you know, but like that Siegel game, it felt like we was struggling that whole game, you know, but technically we wasn't. You know, even Coffee County, we was up 21-0, but it felt like we was from behind. But, you know, so I don't know. You know, that was the first true test. And it's one of those things, I'm glad it happened now.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't happen come playoffs, because that's when that's when it's important, you know. And I'm glad it didn't happen if it's going to happen, let's happen now. Let's learn from it and move on.
While the Pioneers' perfect season was ended against Riverdale, the team's quest for a region title and home playoff game still alive. And, Coach, how's the team feeling about another big one?
You know, hey, bring it on, you know, and it's crazy, you know, and that's where, like, you know, we discussed it last week, the aura of Riverdale, you know, and just that thing, because and I guess as a head coach, just from last year's experience, and even as an assistant coach, it always felt different when we was going to play in Riverdale.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like I don't know what it is about that stigmata about that, and I'm going to figure out how to break that this offseason. But Oakland, these guys are ready to play. I mean, they're ready to go get Oakland. They're you know, as far as, like, I don't know if you want to say intimidated factor, but I feel like we got off the bus last year at Riverdale, and we was just scared to death. And this year we was kind of we was playing timid a little bit, you know. But Oakland, you know, I mean, and I don't know if it maybe have to do with the last game of the year, being, you know, as far as the regular season, you know. But then we've never been here where we've got to play a team like this, but then prepare for the playoffs the following week. So, but, you know, our team health's pretty good. You know, I think the morale's going to be good. I think they're wanting to double down and learn from these mistakes and get after it, you know. Of course, you know, we'll see. As far as injury-wise, stuff like that, I think we're all pretty healthy. You know, of course, we're as healthy as any team is, I think, at this point in the season of a 10-game stretch here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the thing that you start looking at when you match up with Oakland this week is, one, nothing changed when in terms of goals for this team.
No, same stakes.
Except for a perfect season.
Yep.
Otherwise, do you want a region home game? Win this Friday night.
Yep.
Or a playoff home game? Win this Friday night. You want a region championship?
Win this
Friday night.
Yep.
Otherwise, nothing really changed with that loss to Riverdale. Yep. And I think you're 100% right on this point. Last year's Riverdale game, and then you come back and you play Oakland in the last season, you're up 7-0. You're up 14-7. I mean, there was I remember being on the sideline on that game, updating live, and you're literally getting we're getting retweets on our thing from every major football thing in the entire state, because they're saying Oakland's down. Oakland's down.
Yeah, that was the first time they had been down.
And that is the first. Yeah, absolutely. And they were down twice. And you start thinking about that, and it's like, for whatever reason, and like you said,
our kids are not scared of Oakland.
They come to play. They're ready to play against Oakland, and I don't expect anything different this Friday night.
Now, granted, is Coach Creasy probably going to try to hang 100 on us and make sure that we're not behind? I'm sure, you know. But you know, the thing is, we've got a good defense, you know, and I feel like we play salty enough on defense, and we're going to do what we do, you know. And people's like, oh, y'all going to start preparing for that first playoff? Well, I don't even know who we're going to play. I don't even have film on anybody like that. No, we're still 0-0, and we're going to play. And we want to knock down the number one team in the state, and head into the playoffs with that clout. Yeah. You know, I mean, why not? You know, I ain't cowering down to nobody.
And it's like, and it's like you said too, and that is a good point to make. Is for probably the first time since these two teams have been playing in region, Oakland has a lot to play for in this game too. I mean, most of the time, like you said, they're probably looking to their first week matchup. They're maybe move it to Thursday night so they can go scout on Friday night type things. And we've been in that. We've been in there and seen that before, where they wanted to move that game over because, hey, we got bigger things to do next week. There's no bigger thing for Oakland this Friday night or Warren County. The region is decided on Nunley Stadium field this Friday night.
Yep. You know, and I know Coach, and of course, you know, the players, you know, and Oakland's playing they've been playing at another level. And that's fine. I ain't going to lie about it, and I'm going to lie to about it. I mean, you can watch film and see that. And the kids, CJ and Grayson and Gray, Braylon and all those guys, the line, they know that. They see that. They see the talent pool there. But, I mean, it still goes back to those one-on-one battles, you know, because hats off to, you know, because I challenged Douglas Wells this week, you know, because he was going against a D tackle, you know, that signed SEC ball. And Doug played great, you know. Now, did he get beat a couple times? Sure. You know, but did Doug Wells hold his own? You daggum right he did. And I was proud of that, you know, and I felt like our front guys up front did well. You know, and, of course, we've got to play through that adversity and understand when, you know, not every play is going to be a 50 yards rattle by CJ or a big catch by Casey, you know. I mean, and no game from here on out, including last week. You know, and I'm glad we kind of got that out of the way and got that whole, you know, would have been nice been sitting here 9-0. You daggum right. I'm not going to lie about that. But, you know, people don't realize how hard it is to go undefeated. People don't know how hard it is to go 8-0, 5-0, 4-0. 3-0, you know, so, you know, but yeah, you know, this week is, I mean, the same stakes. It's the same stakes, you know, and the thing is, people don't realize you get a few turnovers, ball rolls your way, different things like that, and I feel like we're pretty efficient as far as eating the clock up and keeping the ball away from people. You know, who knows what will happen.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this team, and I think, I mean, you talked about it, and you talked about, you know, have to make the big plays to win the game. The playbook's already there.
Yep.
We wrote it last year. I mean, that first drive, I think it was a 10.5-minute drive at Oakland, and you said it last week, and I think you have to, again, reiterate it to the team, reiterate it to the players, and I know you will anyways, is, you know, 3 yards is a huge play.
Down.
Is a huge play. Keeping them less than 3 yards, gaining more than 3 yards, that's the game. That's the game. That's the game. That's Friday
game
night.
Of inches.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you know, but yeah, you know, of course, you know, we're going to be able to line up in Tubby like we did last year. No, I mean, Coach Creasy knows better than that. He'll have an answer for that. But you know, we're still going to line up, and you know, Oakland's got a good defense, but it's not near as good as Riverdale's. I mean, you know, and I think Coach Creasy would admit to that because I talked to him Sunday, you know, and he said, man, that defense is salty, you know, from Riverdale. So, but anyway, but we'll go at it.
Well, Coach, you kind of addressed this earlier, but how's the health of your squad going into this last game?
I thought that was that same question. All right, no problem. You know, the health, you know, obviously, you know, a lot of people seeing CJ limping around and you know, and stuff of that nature. You know, of course, like I said, I think it's a 9-game total on all the guys. The biggest injury was that we've got Clay Thompson's thumb. Something's happened to it, you know. Of course, he got the x-rays and done all that, and we're finding out what the report is at. But, you know, as far as him being on defense making tackles, you know, he'll be there. I think as far as, you know, maybe him catching a snap, it may be if we have to isolate that thumb, depending on how that thumb, you know, because it was pretty swollen up the other day. So we'll see. But other than that, you know, I'm trying to think. Offensive line, no. We're all good there, D-line, linebackers. So we're all pretty good, pretty healthy. You know, like I said, Clay's the only one that kind of came out, and he didn't even come out of the game. He just kind of came off the offensive side of the ball at that point, you know. But I feel like he, you know, and that was just because he said, Coach, I couldn't really grasp of football. So, you know, because I was excited to see him run a few more little offensive snaps, you know, because I think he'd been pretty deadly at that position.
Yeah. In one place it will affect you, and one place that it can affect you because you're talking about his ball handling skills. He's the holder. He's the holder on PATs and on kicks. So
you know, but Eli Cantrell's our backup holder, and Eli comes out there and does a good job. The bad thing is Doug, you know, bragging on Doug Mingo and forgot about that. Doug's snap was just a little to the outside, you know, but it was almost one of them deals that as a coach, it took me a second to think, okay, who's our holder? And you know, and I think they might have got 1 or 2 practice runs there on the sideline. But that was Eli's first snap. So, I mean, obviously Eli, and I feel comfortable with Eli Cantrell being the holder.
He's a good athlete.
Yeah, he's a good athlete, good young man. And of course, he'll get plenty of reps at it this week in practice, and we'll be fine with that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you addressed the other thing that I think most people, and of course, you know, it's no surprise. You know, people are going to ask about CJ the most. And he was banged up. I mean, are there ways that y'all are going to go in to protect the team? I don't think it's going to be any different than what y'all have been doing. You want to limit the game. do we make sure that our play clocks are working? That's probably a big thing. We want to make sure that we're the first time that I think I'm really going to stir you up on this one.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah,
but I mean, but it's not going to be any different than things that we've been doing for the entire year.
No,
it's just trying to extend the game, limit the snaps, and play your 30.
Now,
play the dirty 30.
And dirty 30. You know, and of course, you know, we're talking about this week in practice. Obviously, we have, as a coaching staff, we have addressed how we're going to start practicing. I think time changes this Sunday. Is that right, Mr. Walker?
I think so.
You know, so time changes, and of course the daylight's getting pretty short. We don't have lights on the practice field over at Nunley Stadium, so that'd be another reason we need a good track over there and maybe get that thing lit up. But of course that'll be another story another time. But you know, of course we can get over on the soccer field. But we've got to start figuring out how we're going to practice in the postseason. Yeah. You know, because I've never been there as a head coach, so we may start doing that this week in preparation for next week. And at the same time, obviously, we're going to limit contact, different things like that, because the dirty 30, we can't, do bone. We got a hit in practice, but at the same time, we can limit what we're doing. And we're getting to part in the practice of the season that we do what we do, and we should know what we're doing, and it's a matter of keeping it clean. And then I feel like we can get some good film study and different things like that, and get CJ and Grayson and Grayson and all them legs and shoulders back under them ready to go.
It's Warren County and Oakland this coming Friday night, 7 o'clock. You can hear the game live on 92.1 The Ticket, WCS-TV, Channel 180, 1230 WAKI.com. And the Warren County Sports Authority will have updates.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have Ansley Mulliken on the sidelines. We'll be there before the game, after the game with Coach Turner, and in between the quarters. So, and we'll have the latest coverage right after the game.
Right after the game.
I want to thank our sponsors, Security Federal Savings Bank. I want to thank Buck Bums for having us out here again tonight. And we thank you for watching. For Coach Matt Turner, Warren County Sports Authority Jeff Simmons, I'm Jay Walker. We'll see you next time on Turner Time.
Go Pioneers.